when we were asked to participate in this forum or in this conference, it's our first time at CBC, by the way. Absolutely outstanding, super fun, and I feel like I learn with everyone that I talk to. So what we wanted to offer today was the opportunity to share our 8 years of experience with people like you, people who are already good at building great beverages and are looking at the potential of making beverages that don't have alcohol in them. There's lots of potential with these customers. They're everywhere, they're us. And what we want to make sure is that you understand the analytics behind it, the processes involved with it, and how you can maximize the value of making your own NA drinks and actually contributing to the boom that we're all seeing all around us. So thank you for coming and taking your time out of your day and spend just a few minutes with us here. My name is Jason. I'm the founder and president of Volunteer Botanicals. We're a company out of Tennessee. And we're a biotechnology plant-based company that can convert nearly any botanical-based extract into liquids for beverages or powders for supplements. And we do supplements in our facility, and we provide liquid ingredients for people that make beverages. So I wanted to open this with kind of a cool story because you guys are all Derek, and Derek's my buddy. Derek started a brewery like many of you in the mid 2000s, in the mid 2000s. He said he's been interested in beer his whole life, but in 2014, he was living in Boulder and watched the craft beer boom and was super stoked to be part of it. He watched tons of people that he knew participate. Everybody was artists, craftsmen, and so there was this awesome process that was beginning to happen in the craft beer space, and he wanted to get his hands dirty. So he started in 2014 with Mantra Artisan Ales. He said he worked with some of the best beer brewers in the country and knew that the creativity that he had in him was something that he really wanted to put his whole life into. So that's what he did. He literally invested tons of money and tons of time into learning the craft of making beer. And this wasn't about money, it was about expressing his craft. And in 2017, he decided to move to Tennessee. Now, craft beer in Tennessee hasn't been as exciting as it's been in some other places like California and Colorado and the Northeast. But Tennessee is usually a few steps behind on things. So forgive us for our lack of attention to the most trending opportunities. But he invested in an 80-acre lot, and it already had a building on it. And this was a beautiful site for concerts, family friendly. Tap room was beautiful. Doors opened up, looked over this beautiful rolling hills and farmland. The ideal opportunity to make that destination location for craft beer. Things changed in 2020. As he was building his clientele, as people understood they'd come out to the country and go see concerts and drink all this delicious beer, everything shuttered. A lot of yeses in this room. I can't even understand what it might have been participating in the craft beer scene in 2020 when COVID hit. What kept Derek alive was Tennessee allowed Derek to deliver directly to people's homes. It was a weird loophole in the law. Tennessee likes alcohol, so they were like, yeah, keep your doors open, throw them in your truck, and deliver them to people's homes. And that's what got him over the hump. Well, what he also began to see as coming out of COVID was he called the canary in the coal mine moment. He said there's only a limited amount of shelf space for craft beer. And then he saw seltzers take a chunk of that out and was like, what's going on? Who wants to even drink a seltzer, right? They're not even any good. But he realized that this segment was getting carved out. It made him think differently. That was his aha moment. What can I do to participate in this? I still want to make craft beer, but can I do some other things and apply my craft in a new direction? Shortly thereafter, he got his first opportunity to make a THC-infused beverage. At that time in Tennessee, it was Delta 8 THC. It wasn't Delta 9. It was a psychoactive loophole that could be played with a hemp-derived cannabinoid. Derek now does not brew beer. Derek serves beer that his friends make on his taps. In the back of the house, he produces 10 times the amount of THC beverages that he could ever make with beer. And he said, I love my craft, I love what I do, but now I'm doing a $20 million CapEx improvement. And there aren't a whole lot of breweries that have investors coming to them saying, can I help you build more? Can I increase your capacity? Can I put that 100,000 square foot building behind this and let's keep this train going? So as we go through today, I want to continue to tell you how I don't want you to change what you're doing. I just want you to think like Derek. Be open. There's a lot of potential in front of us. We just got to capitalize on that potential. So what the hell is going on out here in beverage? What is going on? Why are people drinking less? We've all seen this chart. This came out about a month and a half ago. Our friends Gen Z in the corner that we can't even understand who they are or what they're doing or why they're doing what they're doing. Well, here's what I know. I drink less beer than I used to. I'm a 47-year-old new dad. I can't drink beer. I only drink beer, but I drink way less. My dad, who's 82, his doctors tell him, you need to drink less beer. You need to drink less alcohol. Gen Z, they're drinking 1 drink a month. So these aren't trends. I believe there's something that more like a generational shift. There's a whole rise of sober curious. The NA space is booming. I work with a good friend, Sean, that has a great website, thezeroproof.com, and they sell zero proof beer, booze, stuff from all over the world. And he said the last 2 years have been his biggest years in the last 10 years. He's like, it's insane the growth that people are looking at with NA. And those are alcohol customers, guys. Breweries and tap rooms have become restaurants, event centers. But what they still are social centers. If there's any place that I want to go drink and have a beer and hang out with my friends, it's in a tap room. That's the vibe that people want. Let's be real. I live in near Nashville. I'm never going down to Broadway and hanging out in the honky tonks or going to Kid Rock's bar to get a beer. I want to go to my friend's brewery and hang out and talk and watch a ball game. So you have all of these opportunities to diversify, and many of you are already doing it. You're serving beer, you're having events at your facilities, holding concerts, all sorts of stuff, fairs. About 2 weeks ago, I saw an article that the CDC is now saying that alcohol causes cancer. They're just saying it now, flat out saying it. The stat said 3 to 1 women to men. The cancer rates yearly are about 500,000 cases. Cases of cancer are being documented due to alcohol. Cannabis, those people that have come from cannabis-friendly states know when cannabis becomes legalized in states, it cuts into alcohol sales. That's data now. This isn't do we wonder what's going on? Cannabis cuts into alcohol. We know that to be factual. Ask Colorado. So these are trends that are happening whether you're aware of them or not. And my question to you is, what are you going to do to address the trends? They're happening. They're all around us. People are drinking less. People are consuming cannabis. People want to, it's cool to be sober. It's cool to be sober. These are the stories that we're getting told. So I want to tell you something that blew my mind. This is a company called High Rise. High Rise was our first venture into putting our ingredients into a can. This is a brand that started out of South Carolina. They were founded in Charleston. They infused CBD and THC into a seltzer, very light, very basic, simple formula. They launched with us from day one, so we helped them develop their first pilot run, 2,500 cans. The last time they ran with us, they ran 1 million cans. One run. Why? Why? Is their drink great? Are any of these hemp drinks great? Raise your hand if you've tasted a delicious hemp beverage. One. That's the reality of this space. One person in this room has tried one of these infused seltzers and it was good. Can you guys make a better beverage than a hemp company? I guarantee it. They're estimating they're going to 10x that this year. Every distributor that talks to them wants to take them. You guys having any trouble selling beer? Here's the opportunity. Don't change what you're doing. The irony in this particular slide is they never made a drink before this. They didn't know how to co-man. They didn't know how to distribute. They didn't know if their formula was scalable. You guys know how to do any of this. You know how to do all of this. Can you be a High Rise? And I don't want you to be a THC brand if you don't want to be a THC brand. That's irrelevant to me. But the big picture is seeing that a company can come into your space, take market share, and they don't know what they're doing. It's important to understand that this is happening, whether we are aware of it or not. That's the shelf space. That's the seltzer craze that people are like, damn, they took some of my shelf space. THC is the hot thing right now. Don't get me wrong. The ingredient we sell the most of is THC. Second ingredients are going to be cannabinoids that support the effects that they want in a THC beverage, a low-dose THC beverage. We're already beginning to hear people say, it's not suitable for everyone. Not everybody consumes THC. Not everybody wants to be intoxicated. I take drug tests. In Tennessee, we still drug test in Tennessee. I don't know if you do in Indianapolis, but yeah, we're not a Colorado type state where it's like, oh, weed's legal, everybody's cool. So there's a huge constituency in Tennessee that cannot consume those beverages. So what does that mean? We have a huge wave of THC-infused beverages now taking over the space, but ironically, not everyone wants to get high, right? It's not suitable for everyone. So what's the second wave that's coming? And that's what I'm here to talk about today. So who is this consumer? The new consumer is now looking for more than just beer, right? A lot of them keep telling me, I'm looking for function. I want to feel something when I consume this. Maybe it's intoxication, maybe it's not. I'm also looking for alternatives that are intoxicating. The more alcohol people I talk to, the more they keep saying, this is like prohibition again. Like this is like the first time that we can consume an intoxicant in a beverage legally that's not alcohol. So what does that mean? What are these things? Low dose, functional, botanical extracts that actually provide intoxicating effects. And is the future of functional beverages really a reality? And I think it is. I think if we can make drinks that people enjoy and they taste great and they provide an effect, we're going to carve out an entirely new segment of beverage that we're just now all exploring in and wading in the water. And that's fun. It's fun to be part of the co-creation of what's to come. We're all on the bleeding edge. If you're in this room, you're already thinking those things that I am on the bleeding edge, I'm looking to co-create something unique, and I don't know what that is. And that's a great place to be. It's a little scary place to be, but it's also a very exciting place to be. So what does functional beverage market look like over the course of the next 10 years? Well, here we are in 2024. And we can see steady growth in all sectors of functional beverages, from energy drinks to sports drinks to more dialed in fortified juice drinks, dairy alternatives, functional waters, functional coffees. What does functional mean? I can drink a water, or I can drink a water that's infused with lion's mane and vitamins that gives me focus before my test. Think about Red Bull and think about Celsius. Red Bull doesn't taste good, but it's functional. It absolutely works. Celsius is like, we can make that cleaner, prettier, put it in a better can, make it taste a little bit better, take the sugar out, take the dyes out, throw some vitamins in there, and now it's this other thing, when it's really not. It's still serving the function. So when we're looking at non-alc, we're also looking at, do we want to provide a function, or do we just want to provide something that tastes really, really good and it's an alternative to alcohol? And this is where we fit in. So I wanted to kind of lay the foundation of where we're thinking and why we're thinking this, and how Volunteer kind of plays the role as your partner in the development of some of these beverages. So like you, we founded our company because we are also explorers and seekers, and we want to learn more every day. When we first started working with cannabinoids, it was CBD, right? That was the thing. Hey, CBD's so cool. It's doing all this stuff and it's not getting you high. That was kind of the cool, like, aha moment for us is, wow, you can touch the cannabis plant. You don't have to get intoxicated. Yeah, and it's helping you. My dad loves it. He's rubbing it on his shoulder and people are putting tinctures in their mouth. Oh, like, oh, well, this is cool. What else does it do? Well, guess what? It's got about 150 known compounds in this plant that are non-intoxicating. There's a couple that are intoxicating, but the most isn't. And so for us as seekers and explorers, we were excited about that. Like, what does that mean? What can we do with all of these compounds if we can get control of the compounds? And we've been doing this for 8 years. This isn't new to us. Our technology is rooted in the pharmaceutical sector, and we convert botanical-based oils both into powders and liquids. Powders go into supplements, liquids go into beverages, and they're specifically designed for those applications. We trademarked our rapid dose technology because we were beginning to see that people that were providing some of these ingredients, they were subpar. They weren't performing properly in a beverage. They weren't holding in an emulsion properly. There was stratification in cans, a myriad of problems that most of you have already heard from. So our goal was to provide something that was really project ready for you right out of the gate. And we wanted to make sure that all of our processes were consistent. So whether you were buying a lion's mane extract from us or a CBD or a THC extract in a water-soluble emulsion, you can't tell them apart looking at each other, right? So they're all the exact same format. Now for us, Rapid dose means it comes in an oil, it comes in a shatter glass material, it comes in a powder phase, and we work through all of those variables to create the intermediate for you that's batch ready. All you gotta do is formulation math, which we have calculators that'll help you, weigh it out, dump it in your tank. It doesn't matter what the ingredient, the throughput is always the same. So that makes the manufacturing aspect really, really easy on your side. The story of resilience, I'll be quick. Resilience was our first product that we applied our technology on the powder phase to compound 4 different cannabinoids together from 4 full spectrum plants. So our goal was like, all right, if we know that you can turn these into powder and put them back together and you're using multiple hemp extracts, surely by putting multiple of those different extracts together, it's gonna perform better. It was a miracle. We took multiple plants, powderized them, and compounded them to build specific ratios, and we thought, it's a shot in the dark. We have no clue. It became a product that people called the miracle capsule. We had people that it was stopping shingles. We had people that it was stopping plantar fasciitis, nerve damage in the back. We didn't even know what it would do, but we were seekers and explorers. We did the work first, tried it, gave it away, and then people were like, that's a miracle. You've created a miracle. For us, the light bulb went on. We can do this with other plants too. So what we thrive on is co-creating the future with you. I don't make drinks. We make awesome actives that go into drinks, so you can address a new customer that's not a beer customer, and that's a collaborative process. You don't do that by yourself. And our commitment to you is we are the guys behind the curtain. We are your science team. I've got breweries, they call me 3 or 4 times a week, sometimes 3 or 4 times a day if they're making a production run. If they've run, I had one call me this morning. Hey, are you familiar with foaming? I'm like, what do you mean foaming? I don't know, our tank's foaming. Well, did it have to do with my extract? I don't know, I have no idea. But I thought I'd call you first because I don't know what I'm doing. So I said, great. No, I've never heard that in 8 years, but that doesn't mean we can't fact find together. I am at the CBC. Can I call you back? And we want to be kind of that team behind the curtain. And our word of caution is not everyone is volunteer botanicals. And what I mean by that is in the cannabis space especially, there's no regulation, low certifications, and you're dealing with kind of an interesting group of people that might not take science or the scientific method as serious as you do. That's all I'm going to say there. Be cautious who you work with. So what I'm asking you to do today is to shift your artistry. Everyone in this room that makes beverages is an artist, and I see that because I feel like we are artists too, and like sees like. So I don't want you to change what you're doing. I just want you to take that same passion that made that super juicy hopped IPA and apply it in a new way. Continue to innovate your beers, but also look at new customers that may not be consuming beers. And this is a great quote that I came up with. You know, brewers are artists and functional beverages are a new canvas. You already have the tools, you have the systems and the skill, and now it's your time to pour creativity into something fresh, something functional that's full of possibility. We're creating the future, guys, of beverage, and we don't know what that means. Interesting tools that we want you. We look at 1 through 5 as your toolbox, right? You got a toolbox that's full of tools. You still got to know how to use them, right? You go buy all the cool tools. I've got a whole garage full of tools. I don't use half of them because I don't know how to use them. Cannabinoids, right? The biggest seller in this market right now is hemp-derived cannabinoids, whether you agree with it or not, or whether you like it or not. That is what people are buying, and that is what's providing an alternative effect that's intoxicating to alcohol. The interesting thing is things like CBG, CBD, CBN, THCV, a whole host of other cannabinoids provide different effects. And when you pair them with THC, it makes a more dynamic product. So if you're thinking about a THC beverage, think about it of what do I want this beverage to do and what else can I pair with it to make it more dynamic. Functional mushrooms are all the rage. They were big many years ago. They kind of died off. Now they're coming back. Brands like Mud Water, they're crushing it, right? What I don't want to do is give you Mud Water and tell you to put it in your tank. I don't want to do that, right? If anybody's worked with Mud Water, it's like literally drinking dirt. And that's okay, because if that's your thing and you want to blend a bunch of stuff up in the morning, feel free. I just want to drink something that's easy and delicious. So we're working with right now Lion's Mane and Cordyceps. We also have reishi and Introdia that are in the pipeline. So we're always innovating to get these SOPs figured out. Adaptogens, ashwagandha, ginseng, saffron, even kava and kratom. These are two interesting ingredients that we're starting to experiment with. That kava is from New Zealand, and it's a root that's ground up, and it provides similar effects to alcohol. Kratom is an intoxicant that comes from Indonesia in plant leaves. It's commonly abused, but in low dose, it's extremely energizing and uplifting. Nootropics, L-theanine, 5-HTP, and vitamins. So regardless of the input, the goal is to make sure that your rapid dose ingredient that you're getting is going to be consistent and replicable every time. You don't have to do anything different with your SOPs. So let's talk about this. I'm making a drink, right? Now, what makes a successful NA beverage? Do you want your beverage to have function, or do you just want it to have flavor? And either one is okay. There's no right or wrong in that. There's plenty of NA drinks that don't need any function in them. So I'm a marketing guy and a PR guy, right? I own the company, but I started in marketing and understanding who is my customer? Who are they? How old are they? What are they interested in? And how do I work backwards from that customer to develop a new beverage? Do you want an effects-based beverage? And if so, what's the effect? Because the types of ingredients that we work with provide significant effects. Energy, relaxation, focus, recovery, or intoxicating. The same creativity that goes into making beer can also be applied to the effects that go into these drinks. It's a whole new palette. You can stack stuff together, right? People are now coming to us that make THC drinks and say, guess what? THC makes you tired. You drink 4 of these, you want to go to bed. It's not like a social drink. Like, yeah, because it's not the solution. It's just an alternative, right? So what else can I pair with a cannabinoid or with THC to make it uplifting or to make it something that's more functional? We have a student group from Vanderbilt that's doing a 1 meg THC, 10 meg CBG, which is uplifting and revitalizing and helps with anxiety, and THCV, which is an appetite suppression and provides focus. And so I said, who's your customer? They said, working professionals that don't want to get high. I'm like, dude, I love that. Love that. That's me. I'm sure I'd like to get high, but not all the time, right? Not necessarily at work. So the excitement is let's co-create the future together, and there's lots of potential. Creativity isn't expensive. You guys have earned it, right? You guys have put the work in. So what I want to do is show you a quick rundown of what something like this might look like in your facility. These are all estimates. I'm not a brewer. I'm just taking people's advice on what they've told me on costs. Cost of a can, we'll call it $0.25. Might be cheaper for you because you order a bunch of cans. Cost of a lid, call it $0.05. Cost of line time, right? Here's a beautiful thing. It takes 1 day to make this drink, 1. Really, it takes 6 hours. The rest is setup, blending, canning, cleaning. We're not brewing anything. Cost of water, we put 2 cents in there. Cost of flavors, extracts, whatever we're going to use to put in there to actually flavor this beverage. Cost of a preservative, if you're not pasteurizing, you got to put preservatives in there. If you need help with that, we're happy to talk you through it. Cost of actives, depending on what you're putting in this can, that could range anywhere from $0.05 to 50 cents if you build this real big dynamic stack. But for the sake of this discussion, let's say you're putting 5 milligrams of Delta-9 THC in that can. Your COGS are about 45 cents outside of your line time cost, and I don't know what that is. So let's do some quick math. What does it cost to make a beer? How long does it take to make that beer? What is your margin of that beer? Let's take one step back. Let's do some quick math. If it costs you $0.05 to put 5 milligrams of my ingredient in your can, and regardless of what your other costs are, you can buy that ingredient from me at an MOQ of $500. That will dose 10,000 5 milligram cans. That's a penny per milligram, right? So say I made a 5 meg drink. You can make 10,000 of those drinks. What do you charge for those drinks? $5? I asked somebody that and they're like, no, I charge like $9. Like I can charge way more than 5. We'll say 5. 5 times 10,000 is 50 grand. You produce this in 6 hours and it can yield 50 grand on the low end. You can see why Derek was like, shit, I could make these every day and not tie up my tanks. So he looked at it mathematically. He took himself out of the brewer and was like, all right, I'm going to leave a tank over here to brew beer, but I'm going to use these 2 tanks and just run runs and co-man for other people. Quick math tells me this is an extremely lucrative process if you get it under your belt and you start to apply your creativity to it. This is an important thing to see. If you could generate $50,000 in revenue in one day, would you do that? I think most people would. I would. So how do you win versus all these hemp brands? Because that's the thing, guys. People are like, oh, it's oversaturated, I missed the boat. Let me go ahead and tell you, the boat has not been built. The boat hasn't been built. We're looking for tools. We're looking for architects. We're trying to find nails and hammers. The entire market is dominated by hemp companies. How many hemp companies do you know that make beverages? They don't. They hire you to put it in the can. They hire a formulator to build a formula. They pay somebody to get in front of distributors, and then they pay the distributors to distribute their product. How do you win versus the hemp companies? There's 4 things right here. Number 1, you already manufacture. The biggest cost in this whole process is manufacturing. You already do that. Check that off the list. You already have an existing brand. Do you think High Rise had brand loyalty when they launched? Nobody knows what a High Rise is. Even today, nobody knows what a High Rise is, but they're still pumping out 1 million cans. Do you think your brand and your brand loyalists would potentially take in a non-alc product from you and at least give it a try? You have a tap room for real-time R&D. When people say, how do I get started? I'm like, buy a liter of anything. Lion's Mane's $350. Buy a liter, put it in stuff, dump it in 6 stools, serve fresh servings of stuff, and run it through with different flavors, make it a lemonade, put it in a damn margarita machine behind your thing. Doesn't matter. Get feedback. Hey, try it. Give it away. Hell, give it away like we did Resilience. Do you think we should do a Lion's Mane elixir? Here's a Lion's Mane lemonade we spun up. Somebody drinks that and they feel like $1 million. They're going to say, I'd buy that. You have the real-time data that those brands are guessing. They're guessing. You already have distribution. You already have it. You have the biggest problem in the supply chain for these hemp companies is distribution. Here's another beautiful thing that a lot of people don't know. Your distribution contract for your beer does not cover these drinks. So if you choose to self-distribute, which you can, go direct to consumer, which you can, use other distribution people that you may not wish you picked the first one in the first place, but now you've signed in blood and you can't get out of that contract, you can. You can also distribute these over state lines freely. So think about all of this foundation that you guys have been building over the past 5 years, 10 years, and you wonder, can you beat the hemp brands that are in the market? If nothing else, you beat them by COGS, if nothing else. So when we talk about the tap room of tomorrow, which is our lounge at the far end of the booth, we've got a lounge that we call the tap room of tomorrow, and our hope with having these kind of discussions was to inspire you into what your tap room could be. You know what it is today. What adjustments can you make in your day-to-day life that could potentially bring new customers in the door or make customers that are coming in purchase new beverages, right? If we're all drinking less, if I'm going to a bar or a tap room and I have a couple of really good hoppy beers and someone provides me a Lion's Mane elixir, and I'm like, shit, that costs $8, tastes delicious. Wow, what a nice drink. You know, I've had 3 or 4 beers, 2 or 3 beers that are nice and heavy and hoppy. I'd like to knock down something that's really light and refreshing and delicious. This is the tap room of tomorrow, right? You don't have to be the place that people are coming in just to drink beer. They will drink beer. Beer drinkers are going to drink beer. How can you encourage new customers to come in? How can you encourage the customers that are there to try new beverages? How can you have fun with it? And to me, this is you're co-creating your space into something a little bit new. And I'll tell you, first things first, if you're looking at this with fresh eyes, you will increase revenue. It just depends on how much you want to dig in. The COGS are low, the process is easy, the margins are there. It's just how, are you going to be a Derek that's like, shit, I'm going all in? Or are you going to carve out 2 drinks for yourself? Are you going to try to put this into distribution? That will all dictate how big your revenue is going to increase, but it will increase, I guarantee it, if you start making these drinks. So how do you get going? Keep it simple. Keep it simple. I've had so many conversations with people, And at the end of the conversation, we all take a deep breath like, holy shit, we just talked about 10,000 things. Like, there's so much to talk about. What do I make? Where do I even start? Keep it simple. Conversation I had earlier this morning was, what do you make really, really well? I make a great hop water. Start there. Start there. I don't care what you put in it. A hop water by itself is an NA beverage. A hop water with lion's mane is a sales strategy, right? Who has a hop water with lion's mane? I don't know anybody. You could. Who could have a THC-infused hop water? You could. That's a great sales strategy. But keep it simple. You don't have to go create a transfusion cocktail replacement alternative that you've never made in your life, and you don't know, is it going to have post-fermentation or all these other variables? Don't even go there. Those are product line extensions when you need to get creative. Keep it simple. Derek, he makes these drinks, but you know the drink that he sells in his tap room? He co-mans for, he doesn't have any of his own brands. He co-mans for all other brands, but he sells in his tap room THC-infused margaritas. That's his drink. He dumps it in the tank, dumps the premix in there, spins it up, and charges $10 for a 2 milligram, not a 5, 2 milligram. I'm charging Derek 2 cents, and he's charging that. But he's like, dude, they love it. They love it. I can't spin it fast enough. So I got 4 of these machines lined up and got strawberry daiquiris. Keep it simple. Make things in small batch, test it with your regulars, get that feedback. Number 2 is be creative. Think of creating drinks that have specific effects, a wild new flavor combination. Make it fresh and sell it through. I'm not telling you to go crank out 30,000 cans. I'm telling you, what is your smallest tank? Start there. Is it 5 barrels? Is it 2 barrels? Is it 10 barrels? Start low and slow and make stuff, test it, and keep it simple. Your creativity is not in how complex can I make this? It's providing just another option to your consumers. And the last thing, which is the sticking point for all of this, and I encourage you all in this room to look at number 3. Just get going. Do anything. Do anything is way better than doing nothing. And wondering in a year, are we ever going to do an NA offering? Are we ever going to make that THC beverage that everybody else around me is making? You know, it would be really cool. People keep asking me about Lions, man. I keep hearing that. Right now that we're talking about this, it's like that red car effect. You know, you begin to hear it and see it, and then now you're noticing it everywhere. What I ask you to do is do not get caught in the stagnation of over-processing and over-wondering and overthinking. If you want to make a THC beverage, guys, it's just a compliance thing. It's not an FDA-approved ingredient. You're working with the Department of Ag for the most part. I mean, for us to produce what we do, I think we pay a license fee for like $500 for the year. They come in one time. They don't know anything about what we're doing. They just come in and walk around and sign some forms and leave. Like, that's the extent of it, right? So same as you, it might seem overwhelming and daunting. If you can make hemp-derived THC in your state, the roadmap has already been built. If you're in this room and you don't have a THC beverage and you want to, the roadmap has already been paved for you. Call the Department of Ag and say, I'm a brewer, I want to make THC beverages. What do I need to know? And they're going to say, hey, there's 3 things you got to do. Go get your finger printed, go fill out this form, and we'll do a quick call and you're in. So it's not as challenging. Don't get hung up in overthinking this stuff and just get going. People are infusing lion's mane and functional mushrooms into beer. That quite often require a TTB label approval, some extra steps. But again, you want to make a non-alc beer, put a functional mushroom in it. Now this is something really cool, and I wasn't going to put this on the slide, but I think it's important for you guys to understand, is we've been doing this for a long time. We're really good at what we do. I am not good at what you do, but what I have seen is a lot of people screw up. A lot of mistakes, a lot of failures. So in the failure processes, I'm trying to learn what was the issue, because if a brand fails and they can't make a good drink and they can't scale it, we all lose the customer, right? So I want to learn from those customers, what are they doing right and what are they doing wrong? And in this process, we've developed the Beverage Accelerator program. And literally, it's idea to distribution in 90 days. That's the actual fact. If you were to jump in with us and say, hey, I'm in, I want to do this, idea to distribution in 90 days. We've had people that didn't believe that, and they were like, oh, I got my own co-packer. They know how to do it. They did the run, they didn't know how to do it. It was all wonky, screwed up, the test didn't come out right. I said, just work with my co-packer. If you are a canner or a co-packer, talk with us. We have a few extra steps that you probably need to know about before you get into this. So the Beverage Accelerator program were the key points that we saw as friction points when people were coming in to make either a THC beverage or an infused beverage. And number one was product development. Is this going to be in my brand, or am I going to do a sub-brand? Right? Do I want to put my name on this product and it's, Crosstown Brewing is now doing a THC seltzer, or are we going to have a sub-brand from this? What is the regulatory assistance that I touched on? What sort of ancillary products am I going to need? Now for you understand just what distributors need. A lot of hemp companies don't even understand what kind of collateral they need to provide. Formulation and batching. This can be challenging, right? This is a challenge, even for brewers. You guys are accounting for active milligrams, right? So not gross weight. You're almost looking at these, as Kevin says, this is a dietary supplement in a can. It's not, but it's that same kind of thinking. If I want 5 milligrams of THC and 10 milligrams of CBD and 35 milligrams of lion's mane, that's math, right? It's not just weighing something and dumping it in, because it's a botanical extract and they always change, right? So what we want to make sure is that when you're formulating and batching, that you've got the tools that you need to be successful at that. And we have formulation calculators that are dynamic. So if you took in THC and CBD, you could say 50 barrel tank, I'm putting 5 megs in. They're 12-ounce cans, and it's going to spit out a formula for you. So you're like, oh, it's 1,127 grams, and that will give me 10% overage to account for lab variance, right? So these are things that we've seen are problems, and we want to make sure that before you put anything in a tank, you're like, okay, I've got confidence that I'm doing this right. It's not going to be perfect, especially the first time. So these are, again, friction points that we're trying to help people look at when they're getting into this space. Sourcing ingredients. We're the active guys. People have said, can you provide me a cherry tart flavor? No. But I can provide you something that make that cherry tart drink awesome. So we have flavor. You guys know flavors. You guys work with extract providers. You guys work with juices and purees and all sorts of different things. But if you need someone like a flavor man to sit down and say, hey, I want to develop a blueberry Tom Collins, and I need the ingredient panel, and I need the nutritional facts when I'm done, there are people that we can connect you with, and for a few grand, you can literally get the entire formulation built within about a month. Co-packing. So this is where you guys can also expand your revenue. Many people get into this space to make their own drink, and then they realize that this is easy. I can do this. And then they say, well, how much dead line time do I have? About 40% down line time. All right, do you want to fill that up with other local companies to come in, or other breweries, which is happening a lot? If you get good at it, you'll get known that this is what you do. So local breweries are like, I'm not sure if I want to get into this space, but my friends at Scofflaw do it. So maybe I'll just get with JP and have him spin us up a version of this. There is so much money on the table for co-packers and canners to do this work, especially from hemp brands and people that need someone with canning expertise. Not everybody wants to co-man drinks, but those that do, the revenue stream in co-manning these products for other brands is absolutely tremendous. So don't forget about that. And the opposite side is, the latest brand I brought to JP at Scofflaw ran 600,000 cans. Would anybody in here be stoked if they could run 600,000 cans at about $1.25, and get it done in 3 days? We have people coming to us that need co-packers, right? And so my job is to say, well, where are you running? Where are you distributing? Who's a team that I can rely on that I know they know what they're doing? So you can become part of our network as a co-packing team. Testing. It's important to know these drinks have to be tested, especially for the THC and CBD. So if you're going to make a drink, we want to make sure that you're using the right labs. This is not a black and white thing. If you send your drink to 5 different labs, you're going to get 5 different results. Welcome to my space. Right? This is the reality of the cannabis sector. Distribution options. You now can sell to different places. You don't have to just sell in liquor store chains. So I'm going to go over that in a minute. And lastly is scaling. We can help you scale. If you get to a point where you can't run anymore and you need a partner, or you need somebody that you can work with, we can connect you with another partner canner or co-packer to help you move outside of your current capacity if you want to keep making drinks. So don't worry about, I got going on this and I grew too fast. So before we go too much further, let's just have a quick review, because there's some points here that I think are really important to sit on before you guys get out of here today. I've heard it takes anywhere between 14 to 30 plus days to brew a beer, and sometimes longer depending on the beer. It takes a day to make a non-alc drink. Small batches Like I told you about the margarita machine yield, right? You buy a liter of Delta 9, you make a bunch of small batches of margaritas, and that $500 investment turns into $50,000. You can do small batches that have high returns that don't require even tank time. There's no brewing in any of this process. There's no fermenting. There's only blending. If you can make Kool-Aid, you can make it one of these drinks. It's sugar, it's flavor, it's actives, it's stirred up, it's preservatives, and it goes into a can. The beautiful thing is it provides you new sales outlets. If your distributor says, I'm not taking these drinks anymore, you can say, I don't care, I can sell them direct to consumer. There's other distributors that are taking them. There's health and wellness chains that will take them. There's grocery stores that are taking them. There's fitness centers that are taking them. There's C-stores that are taking them. Do any of you sell beer into C-stores? Do any of you sell beer into fitness places? Do you sell it into wellness centers? Do you sell your beer direct to consumer? You can sell these beverages in all of these places. And now the THC drinks, they're starting to go into chains. They're just now starting. That bridge is being built state by state, but it is starting. You have your tap room, and that is the place that you're going to hone your formula. Don't take that for granted. And you can scale when you're ready. You don't have to go big. You don't have to go big right out of the gate unless you know that this is something you really want to do. Let's talk about my friends JP. I don't know if anybody knows the team over at Scofflaw down in Atlanta, Georgia. We're a bunch of just southern rednecks, so excuse us. These are good guys, right? They're just like you. They got a huge brewery. They got about 120 employees. They were like, I got to do something different to bring in money to pay my employees and keep this thing going. So they've been watching the THC infused sector for about a year and a half. They had another group that they were going to source ingredients from the Northeast. Did not like the interaction, did not like the lack of support, did not like that they couldn't answer questions, and they didn't like it that their extracts tasted bitter. They did not want things to taste bitter or taste like weed. Luckily, we got introduced to JP through a friend of ours that said, Volunteer Botanicals extracts is flavorless. He said, I don't believe it. I've never tasted flavorless emulsions. We drove down to Atlanta. He wouldn't take my call. So I'm the guy that's overly pushy. He wouldn't even answer my phone call. So I said, I'm driving to Atlanta. It's 4 hours away. I'm going to sit down with JP, and we're going to force a meeting. JP and Joe knew where they wanted to go. They didn't know how to get there. They launched their own in-house drink first. And you know what they made? Lemonade. A sparkling lemonade, and they put stevia in it. Their only goal was 0 calories and a drink that was familiar to people. I know how to make a lemonade, he said. So I made a pretty good lemonade. He learned the steps in small runs doing his simple drink. He leveraged the right team, which was us, that helped walk through the formulation and the processes. And he found actives that didn't have flavor, that he didn't have to do a bunch of bitter masking. Now, guys, this happened 6 months ago. So if you think that this process takes long, you're wrong. Now he's co-manning other brands. He got his feet wet, and he's like, all right, I can do this. I got deadline time. Let me see how other mini brands I can bring in and make their THC drinks. Volunteer stepped up and said, I got brands right now. If you're ready, I'm bringing them to you and I'm dumping them off. As long as you can handle the manufacturing and you're comfortable, you get them. JP started getting involved in his local hemp industry in Atlanta. It's new in Atlanta. It's new in Georgia. And so he just was present and involved. He didn't do a lot because he's too busy at his brewery, but he got known as somebody that can put liquid into cans if you want to make a THC beverage. Different projects that he co-manned expanded his skills. Makes sense, right? I'm not stuck in just where my brain is. Now I'm learning what all these other brands are doing and the different preservatives and the different fruit extracts they're using and different ingredients. So now JP's world is expanding because he's like, man, I just learned a ton by people giving me their recipes and me learning how to make more of these kinds of beverages. And so their new venture, which they thought was going to be just this little side stream of income, it caught on. It caught on like wildfire. Now, 4 months later, they started this 6 months ago. 4 months later, they are the go-to canner in the Southeast. They have been pinned, because they're big, they have been pinned as the big hemp brands can come in, get large production runs done quickly and efficiently with someone that knows how to do that. Now JP is building strategic brand partnerships, like with Volunteer Botanicals, where we funnel business to each other. JP is now being asked to make sodas, coffees, all sorts of things because it got out that he knows how to make beverages. So in 4 months, just because he launched a sparkling lemonade, almost all of his capacity is up. 4 months. 5 things that you have to know when you leave today. Number 1, you're not giving up on your beer. Don't think that that's what this point of this presentation is. You're future-proofing your brewery. You're keeping your doors open, you're generating new income, and you're attracting new customers. The taproom of tomorrow isn't just for drinkers, it's for thinkers and movers and seekers. You can bring people in and provide them a new environment and a new beverage to participate in. You already have everything you need to get started. You don't have to go buy a bunch of equipment. You don't have to go take out a bunch of loans. You can walk down to Volunteer Botanicals booth and say, I will buy a liter of Lion's Mane for $350 and go make 7,000 drinks and go make money tomorrow if you choose to. If you could even double or triple your revenue this year by making more drinks, would you do that? Just by making more drinks, would you do it? And lastly, which I skipped over, is with Volunteer Botanicals as your partner, you have science nerds on your team. We are an extension of you. We're not competing, we're cooperative. So our commitment to you is we can't do what we do without you. And we hope after a working relationship, you feel the same about us. If we have this beautiful, mutually beneficial relationship, we can co-create the future of beverage. And the people in this room will be the ones that do it. So my question to you is, before we close this thing down and open up, if you learned about something today or over the course of this week that you thought was an interesting opportunity and you didn't act on it, and then a year later you found that every other brewery around you already did it and they took your market share, would that be annoying? You got everything you need, y'all. We're here to help. We're here to support. This isn't just a THC play. That's what's going on today, but there's way more to it. I'm here. My name is Jason Pickle. I'm the founder and president of this company. I love what I do, and I love working with people like you. I learn from you every day, and I hope that we can continue this relationship. If you see value in that, come down to our booth. We're giving away dosing kits. I got about 30 of them left. If you really want one, here, I'll make a deal. Here's the deal. We're doing a giveaway. We're actually randomly picking people that have signed up. If you want a dosing kit and you're in this room, you get a dosing kit. I don't care. You're all the winners. Everyone else is a loser because they didn't come in this room. So come down, try our cordyceps and Lion's Mane lemonade. That will allow you to know if you don't taste it in 2 ounces, you sure as hell won't taste it in 12 ounces, right? The dosing kit has cordyceps, Lion's Mane, ginseng, and CBD. We're not allowed to provide THC. If you want that, we'll mail it to you. No big deal. And the way the dosing kits work is they're tinctures. They're pre-formulated math tinctures. Lion's Mane, if you want 30 milligrams or 75 milligrams of dosing, is on the side of the bottle. The Delta 9 THC is the easiest one. It's 1 drop is 1 milligram, right? So go make a bunch of drinks and lay them out on the bar and say, I want 2 milligrams of that, 5 milligrams of that. I'm going to put CBD in this one, but not in this one. I'm going to put Lion's Mane in this one, but not in this one. It allows you to do all that bench work without doing any math, and it's free. Because the more comfortable you get with it and realize, wow, this is easy. It tastes fine. It's just encouraging to keep that ball rolling. And that's what we're here to do, and that's what we're offering down the road. And I got still about 7 or 8 minutes. So I'm happy if anybody wants to answer any questions or come up here. We got people in the back of the room that are willing to talk to you. We are running a special. So I want you to know that this is the sign-up kit. So if you're cool with it, I'd like to capture your information because I'd like to call you. If you haven't signed up, I'd appreciate it if you do. You're going to get a dosing kit no matter what, so don't worry about that. Just come down to the booth and I'll give you one. But what I really want to do is make sure that you understand that we are not distanced from you. We are part of you, and we want to encourage you to create the tap room of tomorrow and use your creativity to make something that's really, really awesome that you've never considered yet. And we're here to help you do it. You're not alone in this process. I appreciate everyone's opportunity to speak to you. I've never been to this event, and I've probably had more positive conversations at this event than I have at anything that I've ever done. So it tells me we're all aligned mentally in what we think we can co-create as we move forward. So I'm going to open it up for questions. If you need anything, we're always here. We got a good team of people. And if anyone has anything specific that they want to talk to me about privately, you're welcome. If you have anything of value that you think the rest of the people in the room should hear or want to know about, feel free to speak up. But I appreciate your opportunity, everyone. Again, Jason Pickle with Volunteer Botanicals. Let's make something awesome together. Any questions? Anybody have any questions? Yep, in the back of the room. What you got, my brother?
So I was just wondering about your THC solutions that you sell.
Yes, sir.
Are they naturally derived or are they synthetically derived?
Yep, good question. Has everybody ever heard that question? Synthetic THC versus THC that's naturally derived. Let me clear that up because it's a very intricate, delicate balance. There's two versions of Delta-9 THC that comes from hemp. They're used interchangeably. Most people don't know there's two versions. One of them is, and it's not synthetic. You hear that term because people don't understand the process. In botanical extracts and pharma, these are processes that move and can change with processes putting involved, right? When you grow a hemp plant in the field, the first cannabinoid that pops up out of it is CBGA. They call it the grandmother because every other cannabinoid comes out of that as it grows and matures and develops. Number one is CBGA, right? So as that plant's in the field, all of a sudden CBD pops up, all of a sudden CBG pops up, and then the sun hits it, and then there's pests that hit it that cause those cannabinoids to change, and all these variables of growing botanicals causes processes to shift. That's why it's hard to get a consistent plant every time. Variables change, right? Like wine, hops, same kind of variables. So when you talk about a synthetic THC, that is a product that's derived from CBD as the starting point, right? So just like in the field, CBD moves forward, THC comes out of it, people can do that in a lab. They can put a process together to move CBD forward into THC, right? It's derived from hemp in CBD. They're just applying a chemical process in a lab to make CBD turn into THC. So a synthetic version, that's what they mean. A version that is a natural version is still a very heavily processed version. People think, oh, natural must be clean. Guys, there's no THC in hemp. The whole under 0.3%, which makes it legal, means there's hardly any in the plant. So even though we're extracting it and trying to really create a lot of amount of THC, which creates a lot of biomass and a lot of things you have to strip off, it's a heavily processed product to get that THC level up. So both of them are process heavy. Both of them are available. Doesn't matter to me what the input is. I can source both of those extracts and put them through the process. Quite often, the ones that are natural, even though technically they're both natural and they're both heavily processed, is one that you'll have a lot more terpenes and cannabinoid flavor profiles. Our source, they still strip some of that out because most people don't want that. But in a general sense, both of them are available. Doesn't matter. One costs a little bit more than the other because the process is a little bit more intensive. But 6 of one, half dozen of another. Doesn't matter to us. We run both constantly. Does that make sense to people? Right? There is no THC in hemp. It's so low. So both of them have to be processed moving forward. Any other questions? What you got?
So yesterday's session, in the morning, they were talking about pasteurization.
Yes.
Very scary for small guys because it's very, big barrier there. You mentioned preservatives. Talk a little about that.
Yep.
Programs, and I'm comboing a lot here, but are there any certifications or continued education that brewers can do to get better at this?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'll answer the first part first because the second part, the answer is I don't know. But the first part is preservatives. If you're not pasteurizing, you better put preservatives in this stuff. That's the reality. 8 out of 10 drinks on the shelf have preservatives in them, right? So if you say, "Oh, I don't put preservatives in them," well, most people, I don't have pasteurization or inline or tank pasteurization. Most people don't that are making these drinks. So just so we're kind of on a level playing field here, is you're just like most people in the market because most don't pasteurize, right? Even brewers. So at the end of the day, that's not a stopping point. You just need to now learn about preservation agents. The 3 that are most common are citric acid, which you probably already use, potassium sorbate, and sodium benzoate. So combinations of some of those, some are kill steps, some keep it shelf stable. There's very little in terms of the percentages that you're putting in, but it depends on whether you're making something that's heavily juiced or an extract or a puree, how much levels of those. So a little bit of a learning curve, but not too bad. We can help with a little bit of that because we've seen a lot of formulas, but we're not experts on that. But someone like Flavor Man, for example, they're out of Kentucky. You could sit down with them and say, I'm going to use the lemonade, for example. I want to do a lemonade that has a bunch of juice in it and a bunch of sugar in it. I don't pasteurize. Help me with some extracts. Build me a formula. And their formula will tell you 0.22% sodium benzoate, 0.25 citric acid, added at the end. Here's your ingredient panel, and here's your nutritional facts. And it's like a one-time fee, and they're a good group. So you could go back to them and say, my next drink is this. What do I need to adjust on my preservatives? Once you get it, it's kind of rinse, repeat. So absolutely a little bit new of a learning thing, but it's not necessary for success. What about functional mushrooms? What do you guys know about things like lion's mane, cordyceps, reishis, that sort of stuff? Have you guys ever worked with those in your beers or worked them in any beverages? The interesting thing that we have found is those drinks are crazy, like the mushroom coffees and the mud waters. Man, these things are crazy, the market share that they have. The irony is they're kind of terrible. They taste gross. Like I've had one mud water and I'm like, God, why would people drink this stuff, right? So people like the benefits of mushrooms because they actually do something in your body and they're not intoxicating. So these functional mushrooms are a really great tool and they're not expensive and people know them, right? They know them. Like how many people stopped at our booth because they're like, ooh, lion's mane. I don't know what it is, but I kind of know what it is. That kind of makes you feel good. It helps with your brain and focus, and I'm hammered from last night, so I'll take 2 of those. So these are also really neat adaptogens and tools that are going to provide an effect, and you don't have to worry about the mud water effect of it being difficult to work with, or it has a crazy flavor profile, or it doesn't work well in your tank. When a beverage manufacturer came to us and they said, did you know lion's mane water-soluble is not water-soluble? So what do you mean by that? They're like, well, I bought lion's mane water-soluble powder, and it is not water-soluble. I said, explain more. I put it in the tank. It's hydrophobic. It sits at the top. Tried to stir it. It stuck to the paddle wheel. It stuck to the sides of the tank. Absolute mess. I had to dump the whole tank out. Then it stuck to my lines. It's like, I don't want to deal with that crap. So I was like, mushrooms aren't for me. If you could take water-soluble mushrooms and actually make them like your cannabinoids, so all I'm doing is weighing and dumping them in the tank, and they don't taste like dirt, you'll have a home run. It's like, well, surely we can figure out the process to that. We figured out a lot of other stuff. It took us about 3 months, and we had to source 4 or 5 different inputs to make sure that it was working well within our process. We figured it out. Now we have a liquid water-soluble lion's mane and cordyceps. The next 2 that we will come up with are reishi and entrodias. All have different effects. Craft ready, ingredient ready, tank ready, the same exact format as a CBD or a Delta-9 THC. You dump it right in, you weigh it based on the actives you want in each can, and it doesn't taste like anything. We thought it was important to have those in a lemonade up front because we have a super high dose in there. We have about 200 megs. Most people are putting about 35 into a can. So we're like, if it tastes good at 2 ounces with 200 megs, 35 to 50 in a can, easy breezy, right? So as we're looking at THC in functional beverage space and NA, don't overlook some of these ingredients that your customers know. They already know that stuff, and they know there's health benefit baked in. So if you're making a hop water, put a lion's mane in it. Dude, what a selling point. What a selling point. Like, man, I've never heard of a lion's mane hop water. I'll give that a shot. I would. If I was in a bar and someone's like, dude, check this out. Absolutely try that. So think of these ingredients just as tools in your arsenal. None of them are the answer. They're just solutions to kind of co-create and use your creativity in a new, fresh way. Adaptogens are money, though, guys. They don't cost much, and they work really well, and your customers know them. Everyone's okay with lion's mane and mushrooms. Not everyone's okay with THC. But the people that are okay with THC buy the hell out of it. So pick your poison. Mushrooms are kind of poison. So yeah, there's some irony built in there. What else we got, guys? And I appreciate these good questions. This is always really nice having people engaged, and I've had so many of these good conversations over the last 48 hours, and it gets me real excited about what's to come. Anything else? What can we help with? If you want to set up a call with us and talk about your project, I want to do that. Let's go ahead and get something on Zoom and let's just lay it out. We've had 3 of these conversations already today. Let's lay it out. Let's figure out how to get you going in the most efficient and least cost as possible. And let's get something on the books. This stuff isn't something you should wait on. You can do it now. You don't have to overthink it. You just got to do it. We're here to help. We appreciate you. Thank you for your time today. Enjoy the rest of your seminar.